if I thought about it, I could come up with, that have more teeth, are more vigorous, and allow government to be held more accountable than in Colorado. One of the reasons media organizations sometimes choose not to file a lawsuit is because they fear the law is not strong enough.
Right.
And if they spend the money on the lawsuit, they will lose. And then you've got a precedent that it's really hard to get past.
Yeah,
so one of the things, this coalition that you envision, and I praise its existence if it's actually going to form, is to put pressure, more pressure on, and the Press Association here ought to be a more active player in this, on some lawmakers who are friendly to open records and strengthen our laws.
But there's also some ways that governments can discourage activists and journalists from looking at what they've got. Now, the Denver Post has, I mean, it's hard to say no to the Denver Post. As you said, the letterhead is pretty impressive. And you're occasionally willing to go to bat and sue in order to see the governor's phone records. That's incredible stuff. But it costs a lot of money. When you go to CORA something and the government there says, oh yeah, we can give you the records that you're looking for, but it'll be $1 a page, and we've got 500 pages. It really limits the ability for activists and citizens to do it. You've run into this, and knowing that you work for a real tightwad who doesn't want to spend a dime on these requests, this is a problem.
Well, let me start off with one of the things that you said, $1 per page. A few years ago, Senator Andy McElhaney introduced a bill that limited photocopying expenses to 25 cents per page. But, and I will say that this is speculation, but I can give you one instance where I can prove it. There was a suspicion among many journalists that what would happen was there would be a shift from photocopying charges to research and redaction costs. So in other words, the government has the right to say, well, it will take us 8 hours to assemble these materials. Our lowest paid worker is at $25 an hour, so we'll charge you $25 an hour per those $8 hours of research. So up front, you owe us the $200. And then we'll charge you the photocopying fees. So there was this suspicion that there would be a cost shift from photocopying to research.
You think this is really done not so much to keep their costs covered, but to make sure you guys don't look at everything. Otherwise, they're going to have to make a lot of this stuff public.
I had a school district admit as much to me. They sent me a bill for $100. It was $30 of research time and $70 of photocopying expenses. When I pointed out to them that they were in violation of the law for charging me $1 per page, they said, you know what, you're right. So you owe us only $50 instead, but be advised next time, we're probably going to charge you more in the research area because we felt like we got hosed on this one.
Now, I know the Denver Post has a safe that's just full of my subscription money and all the money you get from Jake Jabs ads. So this isn't an issue for you, I'm imagining.
No, it is an issue. It's a financial issue, but it's also just the spirit of public records. I mean, if we bow to that every time someone wants to charge us for what we believe is a reasonable request, we're not just hurting ourselves, we're hurting our fellow travelers in the business and the public in general. The Denver Post still has, even with the internet, we still have a lot of people who subscribe to the newspaper, hundreds of thousands of them on certain days, on weekend days especially. And therefore, we represent a significant amount of people in Colorado. And as lots of those are taxpayers, we believe that we have the right, or we have a responsibility to make government records available to them through our stories and through our news coverage. And so when we come, we're not just, when we come to someone and ask that question, may I see this document, they should assume this is a representative of the people, and this is part of our job, is to make this available to the people.
Although
here's a clean, easy way to do it.
It shouldn't be matter if it's you representing your hundreds of thousands of users,
but it's a good argument.
Or some 80-year-old woman who's sitting there saying, wait a second, something's not right on my school board. I want to see this email. I want to see all your emails. Is this used as a way to duck that kind of scrutiny? Do you think this is premeditative, or is it, let me play devil's advocate, isn't it fair that if government workers have other things to do than do your research for you, and if they've got to go back and find all these files and photocopy them, that's reasonable that you bear that cost?
I see it differently. I see the spirit of the public records laws is that it's not that difficult to bring you the files. If they say that they have to conduct actual research, I try to get involved in a conversation at that level and say, well, now wait a second, what is it that staff time actually has to be spent doing? Do you really have to have someone going through a file and redacting sensitive information, well, maybe that's reasonable. Maybe that's something I'm willing to pay for. But if I get the sense that it's just hit you with a $1,000 fee so that you're afraid to pursue it any further because you don't want your editor to think you've lost your mind, I have a problem with that. Well, if it's just bringing you documents that you yourself can go through.
And more and more often, it's not a document, it's a CD. Or it's a thumb drive.
It's a $25 CD.
It's a $24.
I'm not kidding you. I mean,
tell me briefly, what is Colorado's CORA law? For those people who are listening, left, right, or the middle, they've got questions about government. They want to see something. What are their rights? What can government say no to?
Well, Chuck brought it up earlier that the way he operates is from a presumption that it's an open record. And in fact, state law makes that presumption as well. So really it starts with the fact that if a record or document is created, we presume it's open, and then from there the legislature sets certain exceptions.
How do you even know that document exists?
Well, and in many cases that is a starting challenge for the investigative reporter. You have to know that it exists, and you have to know specifically what to ask for.
All right, minute left. Tell me, what's the big story? What are you working on? What's gonna get you the Pulitzer?
I don't have a Pulitzer in my pocket at the moment.
So you need the tip. This is it.
Please. Look out, Colorado. Chuck Plunkett, Denver Post. Here I am waiting.
And for citizen activists, the word is keep on looking.
Keep on looking, and we hope that the Denver Post's efforts do really create a lowering tide that lowers the cost for open records for independent journalists and citizen activists.
All right. So go to Independence Institute to look for more of Todd's work. That's independenceinstitute.org. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Todd. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. And if you want a good podcast, we've got them at the Independence Institute. That's ivoices.org. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute. We'll see you next week.